22nd of November 2023. This is a Warrafak moment, and the title is We're on the Doorstep to Hell. Now that may sound crude and may sound blatant and whatever. Fact of the matter is, our country is literally falling apart. We have major problems, and we see news now about how the banks has been manipulating the rand and stealing from us, the people, millions and millions and millions. We see the ports are totally collapsing. To some people, they see the port and they see the problem, but they don't see the effects. That port system that has crashed is going to affect every guy that exports anything and every guy that imports anything. That means millions of jobs are going to be at stake. But that doesn't bother people like Malema. All he is interested in is pursuing racist agendas. And then there's a lot of other blacks. They are singularly focused on reparations. 30 years down the line, reparations. I asked the one guy that I'm in debate, in contact with and chat with, I said, okay, but why don't you blacks for a moment sit down and think, look at the history and see what the British did to the Boere and how the Boere got up out of the ashes without reparations and all that cuck. They just got up, started working, rebuilding their lives. Then I get a video from a friend, and there's that guy that is doing a lot of reporting on Zimbabwe. And he's obviously well educated and he speaks well. And he's in a discussion with the Black Pen, and he makes a statement that the corporates is shafting the ANC because they're not investing in the economy. And under apartheid, they did invest in the economy. And I said, yes, let's look at some basics. Under apartheid, the corporates invested in infrastructure projects. Point number one, the projects were actually built. Point number two, the projects were built to the highest possible standards. Point number three, the projects were completed within the timelines. Number four, the projects actually delivered profit back to the investors. That's how it works. Under the ANC, the money that is invested is just like that, all stolen. The project is never built. Or if it is built, it is 4, 5, 6, 7 times over budget and it doesn't complete. Just look at Medupi and Kusile. And all the time, more money, more money, more money, more money to finance all the criminality in that project. And once the project eventually gets to a finish line, the project is so badly constructed that it does not last and it never delivers a profit. The big problem with the infrastructure collapsing, where Malema is absolutely in love with the Chinese system and he talks about their economic system and all of that. What he doesn't tell the people is that they inherited the Chinese model in 1994. The South African Boere did the Chinese model before the Chinese did it. What is happening in China, and that was exactly the same situation in South Africa, the state supplied things like electricity, cheap, reliable electricity, cheap, reliable rail transport, well-constructed roads, well-constructed water reticulation systems, good security to the community and the people. Security. What does the ANC do? No security. The 270,000 people killed on their watch is evidence of that. They don't supply electricity, although they've got the equipment to do it. They don't supply proper water. They don't supply security. They don't supply roads. Those are things that the other industries all need to grow and expand. Fuck. And then we have that absolute genius of a Ramaphosa that supported Dlamini Zuma in destroying the small businesses during the pestilence. And that destruction was horrendous. What the militants saw is thousands of white SMEs closing down. But what Malema don't tell you is how many associated black SMEs collapsed because they were working in collaboration with these white SMEs. So they collapse as well. And what they don't mention is the thousands on thousands on thousands of job opportunities gone. So these are the things that this black government is doing to the population of South Africa. And each and every political party in that parliament is guilty by association, because they can sit there and debate shit and don't pay attention to the needs of the people. Then another pet thing of Malema is the allowance of all the immigrants into the country. I've listened to video interviews done in townships and so, where the township people tell you how the immigrants have taken over the so-called quasi economy. They hijacked it. How immigrant gangs are terrorizing the population. But these are things that Malema will not talk to you about. And then I mentioned to my Mr. X that we are really getting close to a total regime collapse. And he said, yes, we need a revolution. And I said, then who's going to lead that revolution? And he said, Malema. I said, okay. Now just tell me, why doesn't a guy like your main guy at AFSA, why is he not leading the revolution? No. Malema will lead the revolution and hand power over to the people that are capable. And I said, in which fucking world do you live? Have you ever seen a dictator getting in control through a revolution, handing off power? Wake up. It's not going to happen. But what I would like to know from you now, in '94, you got the whole country without a revolution, bloodless, and you fucked it up. So what makes you think Malema's not going to fuck the revolution up as well? So that's where we are. What disturbs me most is that there is certain black people that are totally committed to a revolution and civil war. And they support it. And I thought about it a lot. And I came to the conclusion that these guys that are pushing for a civil war, their first mistake that they are making is that in their minds they imagine 65 million blacks against 5 million whites. That's the first thing, and they like the odds. That's the first thing they see when they talk civil war. Now, on that point, I want to remind them, there is in the Tswana nation and the Zulu nation, on the conservative sides of both, a lot of anger about the fact that their previously known homelands has been destroyed by the ANC. And they are fucking angry. And they are going to go for the ANC and the ANC supporters when that pot boils over. So you start a civil war, and you must just understand, the main battle is going to be black on black. And you're going to see violence that you cannot imagine, because there's a lot of anger in those people, because the ANC destroyed their lives. There were businessmen and families and farmers and whatever in KwaZulu and in Botswana that were doing well. They were building, they had infrastructure, the industrial zones was operational, they had power, they had water, they had rail links, they had everything. They had their own security, everything. And the ANC destroyed it. Now those people, they want to even that score. And they're going to see you, the ANC supporters, they're going to see you as part of the machinery that fucked their lives up. So you better wake up and smell the roses. You think 60 million against 5 million, and then you feel happy and you feel comfortable. You are in for a fucking hot surprise. The violence are going to be black on black. Bulk of the violence. Yes, minorities will be caught in the crossfire and here and there. And then you've got another problem. There are literally millions of immigrants in this country. And I've been in discussion groups where I've seen what these guys from Somalia and Kenya and Nigeria, what they are saying. They are planning to take South Africa over. That's what they are planning. Because they want the infrastructure and the industrial capacity. That's what they want. And they say directly, the dumbest blacks in the world lives in South Africa. It's going to be easy to take the country away from them. Now you better think about that. And call me whatever you fucking like. I don't care. I don't care. But you've got major problems. But you are so focused on racism. And now the newest heat wave in your societies is fucking Israel and Palestine. And then I see yesterday, great victory for Malema. He entered the motion into parliament to suspend the Israeli diplomatic connections between South Africa and Israel. And that motion was carried and they won. Now I want to tell you, you better go and look back into Malema's speeches, how many places he has said that he gets a lot of support from the Jewish community. Now I've got news for you guys. Whether you like the Zionists or not, that's immaterial. The reality is they have got major connections into the Rothschild system. And the Rothschilds, those Khazars, are the first X in triple X. They control basically all the banks. So don't be surprised after that stupid move of yesterday in Parliament. Don't be surprised if you're going to hear a little bit later on about certain organizations and operations running into serious financial problems. Mark my words. But I said to my Mr. X this morning, I cannot understand that the black community cannot get themselves out of that victimhood mindset. And then he makes a statement, and the statement boils down to, it is because the blacks didn't get the opportunity to take revenge on the whites. Now, I listened to that and I didn't respond. Because in the end, what they have proven is that they cannot handle a complex, integrated economic system like South Africa had. They cannot do that. And then he likes to show me stuff from Singapore. And this morning he shared a video on me where they were talking about the Singapore way, how Singapore started by educating the people in the communities, basic skills like bricklaying, plumbing, electricians, things like that, basic skills, so that those people could better their own environments themselves. And then they moved on to promoting higher skills, like the accountants and lawyers and things like that. But they first got the basic right. And then another thing, Singapore is 100% committed to small businesses. And the government does a lot to support startups and small businesses because they know, and they've seen it out of experience, that small businesses is the fastest creators of employment. But here in South Africa, the superior logic, natural intelligent Einsteins we've got in our government, they decided it was a good plan to fuck all the small businesses up, destroy the small businesses. But the reality is this: you and me experience the same story. You cannot go to a state hospital unless you want to die. You cannot get service at something like Home Affairs unless you're willing to sit for 3 days in a queue there. And then in the end, the issue is still not resolved. You cannot. So you cannot get service. You cannot get health service. Security is non-existent. Calling the police is wasting your fucking time. And many times, in many crimes, the police are first on the scene. Think about that. So, our country is shattered and broken and beyond repair. It is beyond repair. I foresee a spectacular final collapse of the central government. But we, the people, are going to sit with the aftermath of that, because the violence and destruction is going to be in our houses, in our lives. Those political cretins that has been stealing like they did, they will be safe and sound in their mansions or overseas. And it is the population that must take the blame for that, because we allowed them to do it. Politicians, all of them, are the reason for our suffering. But then you get activists in the black communities that instead of inspiring the people and guiding them and helping them to better their lives, they inspire hate and racism into the community. And you cannot feed your children hate. You cannot. Yes, you can tell them to hate and they will hate, but they will not eat. They need to be educated. But the ANC destroyed the education system. Now, there is an onslaught on the farms. I'm not talking about the farm murders. I'm talking about how the farmers are being fucked with water and with electricity, and with it. Now they've got problems with they can't export and things like that. What do you think is going to happen if the food production system collapses? That collapses. We have got a major problem. Because, now just imagine for a moment, Malema is now the new president, and there's famine in South Africa, and he goes to the BRICS table and asks for help. And he says, I need millies. And Putin looks at him and says, okay, just tell me this. What happened? You were an exporter of millies. Now you want millies from us. How did that happen? Ah, okay, don't tell me. You fuck the farms up. And you think now that you are sitting with the results of your actions, I must help you. Sorry boy, not going to happen. Then Malema runs to the west. And they say, yeah, sure, we'll give you millies. But for the first shipment, we want Kuiberg. For the second shipment, we'll take Simons Bay Harbour. For the third shipment, we'll take Cape Town Harbour. For the fourth shipment, we'll take, what can we take? Okay, we'll take 4 of your coal power stations. That is what is going to happen. But carry on. Destroy the economy. Listen to Malema. Let him be your leader to show you how to fuck the economy properly. And I'm telling you, if the food production collapses, the shit is going to be heavy. You should really do yourself a favor and go and look how the Zimbabweans are suffering. Just ask some of them. There's about 10 million of them here. There's more Zimbabweans here in South Africa than what there's Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe. Ask them, they'll tell you. Ask the guys from Somali what famine is like. But I'm wasting my breath talking about this, because the people that really should listen listen to this, they don't listen to it because it's an old white boer that is talking. Suit yourself. This old white boer is telling you today, South Africa is fucked. The only solution, break the country down back to tribal level and let the tribes govern themselves. Please give me a like and subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.